Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
All right, it's one of those days where it's actually racing around the world, and that means a big day across the pond, as it were, at Ascot. It is Champions Day, and they're getting ready to load in. So we'll bring in a couple of Champions Day races during the show. We've got the QE2 coming up, and then the Champion Stakes in a little bit. In the QE2, they're just circling around. Currently, the favorite is Paddington. No surprise. Aidan O'Brien, Ryan Moore, 6 for 7 so far this year, but did run third last time at York towards the end of August. I thought Nashua was interesting. Only one win so far this year, but certainly has shown some talent for John Gosden. And Tahira, who has been the chalk in the last 4 starts, including 3 wins. That one's interesting too. Paddington, the even money favorite, the number 9 horse. Nashua is the number 8 at 5-1. And Tahira, 9-2 is the number 11 horse. As they say, Ryan Moore is on board Paddington in here. Frankie Dettori, who has a victory earlier on the day and announced the retirement tour is no longer a retirement tour. He'll be coming over to ride at Santa Anita this winter, and is speculated maybe Saratoga next summer. That would be a lot of fun. But Frankie Dettori is on board. Chaldine, the number 5 horse in here. And as I say, they're circling around the gate. Racing Across America this morning, again, we have a couple of these races from Ascot that kind of are breaking up the show a little bit. So I'll just have Brian Nadeau on today, and we'll do a little news and notes otherwise. But Brian, there's 3 kind of fun little stakes down at Gulfstream today, but they also have a mandatory in their rainbow. So we'll talk to Brian about that in a few and more. But again, they're loading in the gate. Race number 4 at Ascot on Champions Day. It's the QE2. Take it away.
Next in the field then here, this year's winner of the 2,000 guineas. Well beaten though last time out in the Prix-Jean Prat, that French Group 1 back in July. First run for 104 days as well. Of course, Frankie Dettori looking for a double here this afternoon. The heading behind then here at Ascot, this is race 4, and it's the big one. It's the Queen Elizabeth Stakes of 2023. Last few coming forward. Let's get over to Simon Holt.
Chaldean, the 2,000 guineas winner, the last to go in for the Queen Elizabeth, the second stakes over the straight mile. They're ready. And they're off. And breaking out well was Big Rock, off on a front run, and High Royal, also a prominent racer, going with Big Rock in second place. Facteur Cheval is close up in third. Paddington is very handy. Then Angel Bleu, Chaldean towards the near side in the noseband, Pink Cap there, followed by Nashua on the far side. Rogue Millennium in red and white. Further back is Epictetus. Tahira, the filly on the near side, and the noseband Green Jacket as they race through the first 2.5 furlongs and check and challenge at the rear of the field. Big Rock going off really hard here, leads by 2.5 to 3 lengths to High Royal in second, and this is going to be a proper test up the hill. Moving up into third, Chaldean on the outside of Paddington, and then Angel Bleu. Tahira further back from Facteur Cheval, and then behind these Rogue Millennium as they race on, and at the back still check and challenge. Nashua being pushed along, and Epictetus. Big Rock is clear. Big Rock and Aurelian Lemaitre by 5 or 6 lengths, chased by Chaldean. High Royal behind these. Tahira's going okay. Green Jacket, then Paddington nudged along. Behind these is Angel Blur and check and challenge Nashua with lots to do. Big Rock is going further clear as they run towards the final 2 furlongs. He must be 8 lengths clear now. The filly Tahira is sent into hot pursuit by Chris Hayes. Can Big Rock keep going? He's galloping on well up the hill. 1.5 furlongs left to last. Tahira second. Facteur Cheval running on to third. Then check and challenge. Big Rock still leads, passing the furlong pole. It's 8 lengths to Tahira. Facteur Cheval might challenge for second. Big Rock up towards the line. A devastating display of front running in the Queen Elizabeth for second place. What a win! Fantastic from Big Rock. Facteur Cheval might have grabbed second off Tahira. That's tight. Then check and challenge and Rogue Millennium.
And the QE2 of 2023 goes in the way of France. Big Rock then is the winner for trainer Christopher Head Aurélien Lemaitre is the winning jockey there as well. The form coming into the race, you have to say, was brilliant. You know, if wasn't winning, was finishing second. And a great, great performance here. Was a good second in the French Derby. Then went on to get place in other big races as well. And he's a front runner. And to be fair, the front running tactics have suited him down to the ground here today. Big Rock then the winner. Factor Cheval was second. Tahira was third. And Check and Challenge was back in fourth. The favourite Paddington failed to place. All 11 ran 4, 3, 11 and 2 then here at Ascot. 4, 3, 11 and 2.
Well, that wasn't much of a it was a great race. We had Big Rock. Made them kind of a laugher of that. And the announcer got very excited for what was essentially a runaway. Looking at it looks like about 5, 6 lengths. And if you had Big Rock, you were never sweating in that race. Went out, took the lead. It just kind of opened up and expanded. It was a nice battle for second with Factor Cheval getting it over one of the horses I thought was a little bit interesting, Tahira, the number 11. That was a little bit of a nice battle there for second, but there was no doubt about the winner, Big Rock. And betting public 5-1 as the third choice. So the horse was taking some action, and understandably, 8 starts so far this year. Prior to today, 4 wins, 3 seconds. So 7 exacta finishes out of 8 starts. Now 8 exacta finishes and 5 wins for 9 starts this year, including the $1.4 million QE2. Coming up a little bit later on, at about 10:45, will be the Champion Stakes on Champions Day over at Ascot. On the morning line, the favorite is Horizon Door, coming in with 4 wins and 6 starts this year. Via Sistina looks a little bit intriguing to me as well. Mostadaf also interesting with 3 wins and 4 starts for John Gosden. So again, that's going to come up in just about a half an hour or so. Race number 5 at Ascot on Champions Day, and we'll show that a little bit later. As I noted earlier, in a few minutes, we'll be joined by a friend and colleague, Brian Nadeau. Talk a little bit about some of the action down at Gulfstream today. 3 kind of fun stakes on what is otherwise kind of a quiet stakes day. Oh, again, in New York today, they anticipated the weather. They had turf stakes scheduled, and anticipating that when they drew for the entries, they moved the turf stakes the next weekend. So it's all dirt today in New York in anticipation of another Saturday with inclement weather or some precipitation down in New York. They went off the turf yesterday and wound up with a match race, which Dave Grenig noted, 4th match race in New York this year, which isn't fun on the betting side of things. And I noted yesterday, you can look at field size and crop size and foal size and all those kind of things. I think these match races are weather related for the most part. I'd have to go back and look, but none of them started out with 2. Obviously, they wouldn't card a race like that, so scratches played into it. But I'm thinking all of them were turf races that scratched down when they moved to the main track. But again, we'll talk about some of the stakes down at Gulfstream because they have some fun stakes today. Again, on what is otherwise kind of a quiet stakes day. But they also have the mandatory pay in the Rainbow down at Gulfstream. So Brian Nadeau will join us in a few minutes to hit on that. Otherwise, some news and notes. Arabian Lion has been retired, Bob Baffert runner. And don't forget, he had the 2 Arabian horses. Arabian Night still out there and still rolling, but Arabian Lion was retired. And I pulled up the the record. Won the debut last October at Santa Anita. Then they went over, tried an allowance event at Keeneland, ran second there. Subsequently, this year, tried the Lexington, ran second in the Lexington, won the Sir Barton at Pimlico, and then won the Woody Stevens at Belmont. So put a grade 1 on the resume, and subsequently ran third in the Allen Jerkins and ran seventh in the Santa Anita Sprint Championship, and now retired. So career record of 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third in 9 starts, with just about $500,000 in earnings. But most notably, again, the nice performance in the Woody Stevens. But Arabian Lion retires, and so we won't see that one on the racetrack. Again, they gave no reason, but again, ran seventh in the Santa Anita Sprint Championship, had the grade 1 on the resume. So I guess it's one of those where he's done enough. And maybe, who knows, maybe there was a little ding or whatnot. As they say, the Blood Horse article I read didn't, that I saw, give a reason. So goes to Spendthrift to act as a sire going forward. Fort Erie closed out their season, and I note that because they had very good numbers. They wound up the season with the Tour de Fort, which was run at 2 miles and 70 yards. And I guess maybe we'll pull up the replay tomorrow, but I guess it was, at that distance, there was a horse with a little bit of speed who opened up by 40 lengths and wound up winning by about that much. But did hold on. But again, I brought it up because wagering for the meet was up 39%, just about $47 million, but a 39% increase over last year. That's just an incredible number. On-track wagering increased a little bit, about 3%. The Prince of Wales, which is their signature race, the middle leg in the Canadian Triple Crown, brought in a record $1.05 million total wagering on that card, just about $3.5 million. So good numbers, Fort Erie. And if you've never been, that's another one. We always tout our friends at Woodbine, easy drive up to Woodbine. But this is an easy drive too. You go to Buffalo, and it's fairly close to Buffalo, actually. So maybe make that a note for next summer. But they wound up their 2023 season in fine fashion. All right, let's take a break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by our friend Brian Nadeau, get some thoughts on Gulfstream for this afternoon and more. Stay tuned.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back to Racing Across America on this Saturday morning. And as I say, it's a little light across the country stakes action, but they have 3 kind of fun stakes down at Gulfstream today, plus a mandatory pay in the Rainbow Six. So I thought we'd reach out to our friend and colleague, Brian Nadeau, for some thoughts. Brian, good morning.
Hey, Seth, good to hear from you. Yeah, it's a fun day down here, and I hope everything's well with everybody back home too.
Yeah, absolutely. I will start by touting. We're going to talk a little Gulfstream today, but of course, for the Capital OTB one sheet, you cover Keeneland, and I will tip my cap. Knocked it out of the park. That was a great day on the one sheet for you with the top picks on Thursday, looking at Keeneland.
Yeah, thanks, Seth. I appreciate it. A lot of good prices there, and it's always good to have some winners. Keeneland can be very, very tough, and yeah, that was a fun day. So hopefully some people back home and certainly around the country had some cashing to do.
Yeah, 5 winners, right, on the day, including there was
5 out of 9. Yeah, I think $86 worth of winners, I believe.
Yeah, there's a $35 win. That was a very, very nice day. Also, before we get to Gulfstream, just want to go back to last week and get some of your thoughts because on Wednesday or on last Friday I was sitting in here doing the handicapping show and I heard your voice and Gulfstream was done for the day and I thought, what's Brian doing? And then I looked up. You were in Maryland. So you're up in Maryland at Laurel for Maryland Millions Day. We talked to John Piasek last week from the Maryland Breeders in preview, and then Frank Vespi afterwards. And both of them, John was expecting a good day. Frank said it was a very good day, a day where a lot of breeders and owners show up, and it looked like a lot of fun. Wall-to-wall stakes action on Maryland Million Day at Laurel. What was it like?
It was a lot of fun, Seth. Working with Callie up there. Friday was beautiful. I mean, the weather was perfect. Unfortunately, Saturday it rained. It was a little bit cold, but we made the best of it. It's a really fun day. It's a day that is very well received and a very big deal in Maryland. As you said, owners and breeders alike are flocked to Laurel. And if you haven't been to Laurel, man, they really did it right. They got an awesome sports book there. The simulcast kind of center that they have there is really kind of state of the art. It's almost Vegas sports book like. So just a heck of a lot of fun. And I was very privileged. I've been doing the morning line at the Laurel tracks, Pimlico and Laurel since July. So I got a pretty good feel for it up there, and they set me up to help Callie out, and it was a lot of fun. She does a good job up there.
Yeah, sometime we're going to have you on the show and talk a little bit about morning line making because that's always fun. We have David Aragona come up at Saratoga and give some thoughts, and I think a lot of people are. It's kind of a mixture of art and science that I think is intriguing. So someday we'll have you on and talk a little bit about that as well.
I like it.
But let's jump in. I'm correct, right? There's a mandatory in the rainbow today.
Yeah, so they whoever it was, they trumped everybody a couple Fridays ago. We were going to have a really big day, and somebody did it on Saturday. I mean, we still had a big day, but yes, today will be a mandatory. While we're on here, I'll get the exact carryover. It's going to be a pretty solid pool. The carryover is $53,000, Seth, going in. So, I would think $300,000 to $400,000 in play. You said it perfectly. It's not a huge day around the country. We've got 3 big stakes. So I think they're going to bet this thing pretty good, and maybe even $500,000 is in play. They've been saying 250, but they always go way under. They kind of err on the beyond the side of caution. So.
I think you're exactly right. I think with the day playing out the way it is across the country, New York moving stakes to next week because they were on the turf. I think there'll be some nice focus, and we have 3 nice fun stakes in that mandatory. But yeah, a couple of weeks ago, statistically, I would love to know how this works out, that has happened, the number of times it's happened. But I was amazed when somebody swooped in the day before the mandatory a couple of weeks ago and took it because the field size wasn't that big. So I was amazed that somebody got away with 1 single ticket, but congratulations to whoever.
Yeah, we just really, to be perfectly honest with you, didn't really think that was in play. It was a very odd day where, weirdly enough, I think it was the second to last race and like the heavy favorite won and just beat I'm paraphrasing, but just beat like a 9-1 or something. And I'm pretty confident in saying that if the 9-1 had won, there would have been no tickets at all. And in a weird sort of way, you think sometimes the favorite saves you. And I think, in fact, on that particular day, because there wasn't a great amount of money in the pool, I think on that particular day, the favorite probably helped that person sweep it.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's very interesting. Where the 9th, the upsetter would have played into getting the mandatory to where it should have been. All right, with the mandatory today, and as I say, some nice fun stakes races. Well, let's take a look at it. 8th race today at Gulfstream is one of those Florida Sire Stakes, and it's the Susan's Girl. You mentioned before we went on the air a notable scratch, Welcome Back, who won the Desert Vixen. I pulled up a replay of the Desert Vixen, and we can still show that because it will be Welcome Back winning. But right behind is Mist. I thought Mist was interesting in here. I thought Mark Cassidy's Dancing in Dixie could be a little bit intriguing off the maiden breaker last time. But obviously, our Harper Rose, 2 for 2 so far, going to take a lot of action. What are your thoughts on race number 8?
Yeah, I mean, I was totally against Welcome Back. It was a super slow race in the Desert Vixen. Miss did run well. Welcome Back, to her credit, has no idea what the heck she's doing, but she still got off. If you watch that replay, if you're showing it, she's all racehorse. She's a cool horse. She's going to like stretching out. I don't know why she scratched, but this race is clearly all about our Harper Rose. The 7 furlongs is the question mark. I talked to Sappy yesterday. He said he really doesn't think it's going to be a problem. It's kind of a definitive race for our Harper Rose. I mean, she might be 1 to 5 in here, but it will give Sappy the path moving forward. He thinks she's like an open company graded stakes kind of horse. If you watch her 2 races, they've been public workouts. She's been in 3rd gear. She's freakishly fast. She had to run at all. So, but I don't really see, Seth, anyone in here making a run. Maybe the 12 Honey Dijon, to her outside, shipping in from Kentucky, and you saw her up in Saratoga, breaking her maiden. You know, maybe she can at least keep our Harper Rose honest. But we're talking about a filly that has no problem going 45 flat. So I don't see her beating. To me, it's a one-punch exacta with Haunted. For the Arundel connection, she was well behind our Harper Rose in their debut, but she's a horse that wants every bit of 7 furlongs, and she's going to run on. Can she win? I don't think so. But to me, it's 11-4 straight to the hoop in here.
Honey Dijon is kind of interesting because the only horse coming in from out of town, Joe Sharp trainee, and they elect to take the shot in this Florida Sire race, makes that one a little bit interesting. But yeah, our Harper Rose looks pretty good for Rich Averill and company, as the R would signify. 9th race this afternoon. It is the Campbell Memorial. Another fun race. I pulled up a replay going back to the end of August, and we're going to look at Slim Slow Slider get it done. I thought at a price the Peter Walder runner could be interesting, but another one where there's a horse that's maybe jumping off the page. Dean Delivers won the Smile Sprint down at Gulfstream earlier this summer, and then was 3rd behind Elite Power and Gunite in the Vanderbilt up at Saratoga. So Dean Delivers obviously taking a lot of action. Where are you going in the Campbell Memorial?
It's tough to beat Dean Delivers, and it was so cool to see him not only go up to Saratoga, but acquit himself very nicely. I mean, Elite Power and Gunite are the 2 best one-turn horses in the world, in the country, especially at that distance. So, he went up there and really, really ran well. He's the house horse. He won the Grade 3 Smile. I don't think a mile is going to be a problem for him at all, especially because down here at Gulfstream Park, it's a 1-turn mile. So there's spots where you're allowed to try to beat favorites, and I'll talk about it in a second. Dean Delivers, to me, is not really the type of horse I want to try to beat. It's a good race. Certainly big and classy, is all racehorse for Bobby DeBona, and he's done such a good job. But at the end of the day, I just think Dean Delivers is just too much for this group, and he is. I know there's 8 of them. Kozaris, the 1 is out. I know 9 of them are going to line up against Dean Delivers, but he is legitimately 4 to 5 in this kind of spot.
Yeah, he'll just be fun to watch and see if he can back up that night. As you say, you run 3rd to Elite Power and Gunite. You're doing all right this year.
Exactly.
10th race is the again Florida Sire. It's the Affirmed. I pulled up a replay from Ben Tornato, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, 3 for 3 so far, including the Dr. Fager part of this series. Won that convincingly by over 7 lengths. Sound of the Beast with the win last time on the outside, I thought was a little bit intriguing. Esperon, the number 2, Rise My Guy, coming off a maiden breaker. They intrigue me. A horse that definitely intrigues me just on the venue move, Seminole Chief coming in from the Finger Lakes is going to be intriguing in here off a debut victory in upstate New York. But what are your thoughts in the Affirmed?
This is a fun race. Ben Tornado, again, the house horse, 3 for 3, unbeaten, pretty much untested. His last 2 races have been awesome for Jose D'Angelo. Oddly enough, Jose D'Angelo trains Welcome Back to scratch. Welcome Back in Italian is Ben Tornado. How about that? So there's a little, there's something funky going on there. He's a serious horse. He's another horse like our Harper Road that I think the connections think he's more than just a Florida bred horse. But he's going to have to earn it today. He's kind of laughed at 2 stakes fields in the last 2 starts, and he was just way better than them. This is a real race today. Hurricane Nelson coming down from Saratoga and Belmont at Aqueduct, and he's got speed figures. He's gone outside. I know he's a maiden, but he's gone outside Ben Tornado. I like him in this spot. Private Desire, who beat him last time, is a real serious prospect for Todd Fletcher. And I think the 7 furlongs for Hurricane Nelson might help him a little more than Ben Tornado, who's probably going to take all the worst of it because he's going to have to shake out, I would assume, here as the inside speed. And that's going to put him in a little bit of a tricky spot, especially with Hurricane Nelson to his outside. So that's where I went. I actually picked Sound of the Beast in second, Seth. If you go back and watch his maiden win for Rohan Creighton, it was really impressive. And he probably would have won by as many lengths as he wanted to if he had clear sailing. And he really didn't get it until mid-stretch. And when he tipped out, Seth, whoosh, he was gone. And he's another horse that I think at 7 furlongs, the Big Beast, I feel like I watched the race with you when the Big Beast won the King's Bishop at 7 furlongs at Saratoga. He was 7 furlongs through and through. And that's what Sound of the Beast is going to get today. I think he's very, very interesting. Certainly Ben Tornado is going to be tough in here, and I have no knocks on him whatsoever, but I'm going to try to beat him at a little bit of a short price. I'll throw out one Bob. I wanted to pick him on top. I didn't quite have the, what we'll call it, intestinal fortitude to do it. The one horse, Roar Ready, had a nightmare trip on debut. Ruben Sierra, trainer, owner, breeder, had a huge year. Has been slow into stride here at the meet. But Roar Ready might pass a few at a big, big number. Don't sleep on him if you like to play exactos, trifectas, and that kind of thing. He could get a piece of this at a huge price.
I'll toss him in. I like it. Brian, appreciate the visit. We'll let you get going and head over to Gulfstream. We'll be watching this afternoon. You and Samantha and Claudia, always appreciate the work you guys do pregame and paddock commentary and whatnot. And say hello to the guys in the press office.
I will do that for sure. And Seth, it's good to hear your voice. Hope everybody back home is doing well. And we'll talk again soon, I hope.
Sounds good. And keep up the good work the last week at Keeneland on the one sheet as well.
Thanks, Seth. Take care.
Take it easy. Brian Nadeau from Gulfstream. Again, fun little stakes card. The 3 stakes, and they have the mandatory pay in the Rainbow this afternoon. So Gulfstream's going to be fun to follow on this Saturday afternoon. Why don't we take another break? And I'll come back, and we're going to be 10 minutes or so away from the Champion Stakes at Ascot. So I'll hit on some more news and notes, and then we'll lead into that Ascot race. But we'll take a quick break now and come back as Racing Across America on, again, one of those mornings where it's actually racing around the globe with Champions Day at Ascot this morning getting plugged in as well. But we'll take a break, come back in just a couple. Stay tuned.
The Clubhouse Racebook is the Capital Region's new home for racing and sports. 25,000 square feet of Vegas-style action with live wagering on the best horse racing from around the world. 260 flat-screen televisions and state-of-the-art wagering terminals. So don't miss out. The fun is only minutes away at 711 Central Avenue, Albany, just off Exit 5 of I-90. And don't forget, if you can't make it to the Clubhouse, you can always wager online 24/7 at capitalotb.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. We are, let me just pull up my, about 9 minutes away from Ascot. So we'll give you a look at that Champion Stakes and then send you to that in a few. But they're actually showing some Leopardstown now, so you aren't missing anything video-wise. More news and notes. A couple of days ago, it was announced Forte retired. Not a super surprise. Had been battling a quarter crack, and Todd Pletcher was quoted a couple of weeks ago as, we should be okay, have enough time to, but when you get those situations and you're in that 4 to 5 to 6 week window and you're not getting the training you need, it starts to become dicey. Now, could the horse have continued to run? Yes, but Mike Rapoli says the Clark and the Cigar Mile are grade 2s. I don't think winning them would do much for him. What else can a horse like this do? He's earned $3 million, and to run him in the Pegasus because it's a lot of money is not what I want to do. So they decided to retire Forte, the 2-year-old male champion of 2022. A little bit of a star-crossed year this year with the situation down at the Kentucky Derby. Also, it came out that he's kind of sitting on I'm looking here, but again, so it was a little bit of a start, and that came out in the 3-year-old season, so a little bit of a star-crossed 3-year-old season, but it win the Fountain of Youth, the Florida Derby. We were down for that Florida Derby victory was just kind of insane because on the turn it looked like no shot, and then came on and won that nicely. Second in the Belmont, won the Jim Dandy, then fourth behind Arcangelo in the Travers as the favorite. But it's been announced that Forte retired, so we will not be seeing him at the Breeders' Cup and or beyond. Notable, we were in here a couple of days ago when it happened. We were doing the afternoon show just a few days back, and Corey Lannery, veteran jockey, gets milestone victory number 5,000, which is insane when you think about it. The article, this is from the Blood Horse that I printed up, said he is the 38th North American jockey to do that. But I printed up the list, the Equibase list of all-time leaders, and counting down, I have him as 34 on the list. And interestingly, you can parse out the lists by money won and by races won on the jockey side for all-time leaders. So he's 34 with 5,000. He's sitting 34th on the all-time win list, but he's also 34th on the money list, which is kind of interesting. His mounts have won $159 million over the career. Again, 5,000 victories and over 34,000 mounts, races. The leader, Corey Lannery, a career, and you're top 34 all time, and 5,000. That's pretty good. But the leader, Russell Bayes, 12,000, almost 13,000, 12,842. Lafitte Pinkai, 9,500. Willie Shoemaker with 88. Pat Day with 88. So, but 5,000 is quite an accomplishment. Corey Lannery scores just a few days ago with that. The article I read, Lannery, the leading rider at Churchill Downs 19 times. That's incredible. Second only to Pat Day. Lannery has also won titles at Ellis, Lone Star, Sam Houston, and Retama. In 2014, he won the prestigious George Wolfe Memorial Jockey Award that's elected by the other jockeys and goes to riders whose careers and personal character earn esteem for the individual and the sport of thoroughbred racing. So it has been some career and capped the other day. Not capped, he's still going, but highlighted the other day with career victory number 5,000. And again, pulling up his Equibase page the other day, started riding in 1991. But, there's a bar graph of earnings when you look at Equibase. And really kind of going back to 2011, 2012, we're looking at the highlights of the career there with, again, just a phenomenal 5,000 career victories being attained the other day. I mentioned earlier this week, but again, I always tend to repeat some of the news on the weekend show because I don't know, some folks maybe have to work, unfortunately, during the week, and you only get a chance to watch on the weekends, which we understand and appreciate. But I was up at Saratoga on Tuesday, and again, I label it as kind of your last shot at horse racing related activity for the year, that fall sale, the fall Fasig-Tipton sale. There are still some horses working up at the Oklahoma, so that'll go on for another week or so maybe. But the sale gives you a chance to, group of people in one location. And there were some familiar faces. I saw Dean Reeves there, ran into a breeder who was pretty happy that Dean Reeves had bought one of his horses at the sale. Michael Dubb, Chad Brown, ran into the guys from America's Best Racing, locally based partnership. They had purchased one or two as well, and I congratulated them on their Keeneland victory the other day. Saw the Brooklyn Cowboy, he was there. So a number of familiar faces at the sale the other day, and it was a lot of fun. And it was a decent little sale. So the headline in the Blood Horse, similar results to 2022, and I think they were overall pretty happy. The sale saw 156 horses change hands, 243 went through the ring. That means that a number of them were RNAs. There was also a number of scratches, but they sold 156, $4.5 million gross. Average price was almost $29,000, $19,000 median. I think there was about 6 or 7 horses that went for 6 figures. It's a little, I tell people, go up, have some fun if you've never done it before, this fall sale. And the other day was a little bit overcast, but otherwise it was a nice fall afternoon. So if you can go up there and kind of enjoy a nice fall afternoon watching the sale. But I do tell people it's different than the August sale, the big sale, and even the New York bred sale, which has become very popular in the past few years. And it's different because they pass a lot of horses through the ring. It starts at 10 in the morning and goes to late afternoon. But it's also not the same kind of quality. You're not going to get the number of 6 and potentially 7-figure horses. It's a little bit different, but it's still a lot of fun. And also they're selling weanlings. So it's kind of fun to see the little babies come through the ring. Nice day. It's a fun day. And again, keep it in mind for next fall because it gives you a little shot of horse racing related activity in Saratoga in October. Nothing wrong with that. They're listed about 1 minute away from the Champion Stakes. So that I'm just looking at the screen there, and now they put up Ascot. So I will lead you into that, and then we'll take a look at the Ascot video going into the Champion Stakes. But we have one scratch. Mostadif, who I mentioned a few minutes ago. That one is out. Favorite is Horizon Door, who was the morning line favorite at 5-2. currently at 2-1. King of Steel for Roger Varian. Frankie Dettori on board. King of Steel, the number 8, second choice at 3-1. Bay Bridge at 9-2 is the third choice. I thought Via Sistina was a little bit interesting. The 6 horse, you're getting 8-1 there. So if you're looking for a little bit of an outsider, that 6 horse is intriguing. But again, the favorite on the morning line at 5-2, and currently the 9-5 choice is the number 7, Horizon Door. 4 wins and 6 starts this year overall in the career. 6 wins and 8 starts, so makes some sense. That's, again, it's the number 7 horse. They're loading in Champion Stakes over on Champions Day at Ascot, so we'll send it over there. I'll come back in a few, and we'll head down the home stretch of Racing Across America. Stay tuned.
This winner, close and distance win, was this race 12 months ago as well. So Michael Stout, Richard Kingscote team just about to go forward then here. Notable absentee. It is the 3 here. The ground's really gone against him today. And the last couple then to come forward is Via Satina and also King of Steel as well. Let's get back to Simon for the final group race of the day.
It's the Kipco Champion Stakes. They're off. Via Sistina gave a little jump, leaving the stalls, was going to be dropped in from a wide draw. Bay Bridge going forward with Royal Rhyme, and then Point Lonsdale, who's cajoled along on the inside, and My Prospero coming through strongly in the blinkers for the first time. So quite a bit of competition for the early lead. Point Lonsdale around the inside of My Prospero, Royal Rhyme, and then 2 or 3 lengths to Bay Bridge, and they're followed by Horizon D'Or, who's a rather keen, the French challenger on the outside of Dubai Honor, Via Sistina, and Frankie's at the back on King of Steel. Heading right-handed at Swinley Bottom, and My Prospero just to the outside of Point Lonsdale. My Prospero leading under Tom Marquand. Point Lonsdale second. Royal Rhyme is third. Then Bay Bridge close up in fourth on the outside of Dubai Honor. Horizon D'Or settled a bit better now behind these, followed by King of Steel. And they head up the hill towards the final 5 furlongs. Via Sistina still towards the back with King of Steel. And maybe the pace just slowing down a little bit, sensibly so perhaps. My Prospero by a half length to Royal Rhyme. Point Lonsdale. Bay Bridge in a good position to try and double up from last year. Then Dubai Honor. Horizon D'Or. Via Sistina's on the outside in the pink sleeves. King of Steel and Frankie Dettori at the back of the field as they race on now towards the final 3 furlongs on the home turn. And it's My Prospero by a length to Royal Rhyme. Bay Bridge going up into third on the outside of Point Lonsdale. Then Horizon D'Or. Via Sistina is circling the field from Dubai Honor, and King of Steel now being pushed along down the run towards the finish, and Royal Rhyme looming up on the outside of My Prospero. Here comes Horizon D'Or with Via Sistina. Bay Bridge flattening out. Point Lonsdale. King of Steel is staying on from the back. Still got a bit to find though, and it's Via Sistina, the mare, who comes through to lead from Horizon D'Or. King of Steel is trying to reach them inside the final furlong. Via Sistina. Here comes King of Steel under Frankie Dettori on the near side. Via Sistina by a half length. Is a neck, is a head, and King of Steel, he gets up to win. He wins the champion, and Frankie Dettori, he salutes the crowd on his farewell ride at his favourite racecourse. It's King of Steel in the hands of Frankie Dettori. From his second, Via Sistina, she was worn down close to the finish. And they were away from Horizon D'Or in third, and in fourth, Point Lonsdale.
Well, if there's a man who can, he wins the first race on the card, and he wins the penultimate race here as well. King of Steel under Frankie Dettori, as Simon said, on his favourite racecourse as well before.
I don't know if the announcer got the memo, but I'm not sure it is the farewell. Right, Frankie Dettori again announcing just earlier this week, maybe about a week ago, that the retirement is on hold. He'll be riding the winner at Santa Anita, summer, maybe Del Mar or Saratoga, and he put no endpoint on it. So it wouldn't shock me if he comes back. It is pretty amazing, though. He's had a nice run here, and like a lot of athletes, hard to go out on top when you're still when you're still kind of going very well, I think it's hard to say goodbye for a lot of these guys, and I don't blame him. He's running very well, including a win in the Group 1 Champion Stakes. King of Steel, who I thought via Sistina was very intriguing at 9-1, and I thought my 9-1 was going to get it done as the mayor facing the boys took the lead. And even with the late run from King of Steel, I thought Via Sistina still was in a pretty good spot and had the momentum herself. But Frankie Dettori runs that one down as King of Steel at 3-1 as the second choice gets it done. 8, 6, 7, and 5. The favorite winds up running third in there, and a little ding-dong battle for third. That was a close finish there. But Via Sistina, nice run from that one, but couldn't hold off. So kind of two good stories. The mayor facing the boys runs very well and looked to be a winner about 100 yards out. But it winds up to be another good story. Frankie Dettori winning the Champion Stakes. What may well be his last ride there. But as I say, when he announced that the retirement's on hold, there was no I'm going to ride in America, and then at the end of summer there was no end point, and he made a point that I'm not putting an end point on it. So we'll see how it works out. As I say, maybe this will be the farewell ride at Ascot in the Champion Stakes, but I wouldn't necessarily count on it. But if it was, heck of a way to go out. Frankie Dettori getting it done. King of Steel, 3-1 there at Ascot in the Champion Stakes on Champions Day. Why don't we take one more break? I'll come back and we will wrap on this Saturday morning racing across America. So stay tuned.
What if there was a way to become a better horse player, to have a better knowledge of the game, to be more successful? What if there were a way to take what you've learned, what you know, and make better decisions, better choices? In horse racing, knowledge is a powerful tool. Race results and replays, past performances and live streaming, wagering from all your digital devices. Capital OTB. Become a better horse player.
No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. You'll get live streaming, past performances, race replays, our virtual tote board, analysis and selections from professional handicappers, a simple, safe, and secure wagering platform, and best of all, you get track prices. CapitalOTBBet.com. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back again. Frankie Dettori with the win in the Champion Stakes. And news came out just yesterday, right? Yeah, Dave Grenig wrote in the Racing Forum. Dettori, ride in the Classic. Chad Brown has announced that Frankie Dettori will ride Zandon, Breeders' Cup Classic, coming up on November 4th. Dettori, according to the Grenig article, 1 for 7 in the Classic. He won it in 2008 with Ravens Pass. Hasn't had a Classic mount since he finished 9th in 2014. But overall, Frankie Dettori, 6th leading rider in the Breeders' Cup overall, with 14 wins, ranks 4th in purse money with almost $26 million in Breeders' Cup money. Zandon was ridden to victory in the Woodward by Flavien Prat, but Flavien is committed to Arabian Night in the Classic. So Frankie Dettori will ride Zandon in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He'll probably win that too. And then you really wonder, boy, you get to go out, you get to do a George Costanza and leave on a high note, but I don't think that's going to be the game plan. But as I say, next summer would be great. If Frankie Dettori was at Saratoga, that would be a lot of fun. That would add a nice storyline to the season, certainly. But I'm getting the feeling, because he said he and his wife are going to go spend the winter out in Southern California at Santa Anita, where he's been before. And so you get the feeling he maybe likes the Southern California lifestyle. And he said in that article, kind of moving the retirement to the side, he said maybe Del Mar or Saratoga next summer. And if you like the Southern California lifestyle, track next to the beach, it would seem like Del Mar would be maybe a little more attractive, but we'll see. Again, if we can get them up in Saratoga, that would be a lot of fun. Just before we wrap up, this week's NTRA Top Thoroughbred poll. And again, the final Breeders' Cup Classic poll, same number one, Arcangelo. And I said we talked to Jeremy Plonk for a minute or two about that Breeders' Cup Classic poll with Arcangelo on top. It's just, it kind of says the older division and the 3-year-old, no knock on Arcangelo. But again, he's at the top of the Thoroughbred poll, which came out beginning of the week. I'm looking, I think the date was on the, but it's this week's. It's the latest poll. I think it tends to come out Monday or Tuesday. So again, here we are, mid to late October, and Arcangelo is on top. Cody's Wish second, Up to the Mark, the Nice Turfer third, Elite Power fourth, White Abarrio fifth. So all older horses in the top five, other than Arcangelo. Arabian Night, another 3-year-old, sitting sixth. Idiomatic seventh, Echo Zulu eighth, Go Rocket Ride ninth, and Casa Creed 10th. But Arcangelo on top, and as I say, talked a little bit about this with Jeremy Plonk last week, which another poll, the Breeders' Cup has their own classic poll, and their final poll there had Arcangelo on top. And again, no knock on Arcangelo, but you just don't think you're going to get to October and say, top horse this year, winning the Peter Pan, winning the Belmont, winning the Travers. Nice record. I don't know that normally we think, yeah, that's the horse who in October is going to be sitting on top of everything. But we'll see. It's going to take a lot of action, certainly, in the Classic. It seems like from reading, looking on Twitter, Naira had a little conversation with her on their Fox show the other day that they tweeted out as well. Jenna Antonucci, seems like Arcangelo is taking to Santa Anita. His workout the other day looked pretty good. People were kind of giving that a thumbs up. So going to take a lot of action. We will see. But again, maybe a little bit of an indictment on what the older horses are up to this year. But interesting. Cody's Wish in the second spot, and Up to the Mark again on the turf side of things looked good at Keeneland the other day. So see how it plays out going forward into the Breeders' Cup, which will have pre-entries announced. I think I read on Wednesday, and at that point, the various past performance providers will be tossing out some information. So starting on Wednesday, you'll be able to jump in and start at least getting an early look and maybe parsing out and making some early decisions. You don't want to get locked in because post position may make a difference. Horses cross-enter and final fields will make a difference, but you can at least get a little start beginning about midweek, just a few days as far as the Breeders' Cup. All right, we will take a break, take our end of the show break. But again, I'll be back in about an hour and a half as usual, taking a look at some action for this afternoon. We'll take a look at a little Belmont at Aqueduct. We'll have some Keeneland as well, as we mentioned earlier on the show. Nice little card at Gulfstream today with 3 kind of fun, intriguing stakes and that mandatory pay in the Rainbow. So that'll be fun this afternoon as well, and more. But as I say, I'll be back in about an hour and a half with OTB Live to take a look at that. Do want to remind and alert you that tomorrow OTB Live will be right up the Northway at Saratoga Harness. Looking forward to it. That's tomorrow afternoon. So if you're up in that direction, swing by and say hello. as we will be enjoying the sulky action all afternoon long. Tomorrow, OTB Live on the road at Saratoga Harness. Otherwise, let's wrap it up for this Saturday morning. Seth Merrow in the studio. Thanks for joining us as always. Again, back in about an hour and a half or so as we will kick off Saturday afternoon action on OTB Live. We'll see you then.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.